And I've quoted this during this teaching, but now we're going to read it. And on a certain day it came to be that he entered into a boat, this is Yeshua with his taught ones, and he said to them, let us go over to the other side of the lake. And they set out. And as they were sailing, he fell asleep. And a windstorm came down on the lake, and they were filling up and were in danger. And they came to him and woke him up, saying, Master, Master, we are perishing. And he awoke and rebuked the wind and the raging water, and they ceased, and there was a calm. And he said to them, where is your belief? And they were afraid and marveled, saying to one another, who then is this, that he even commands the winds and the water, and they obey him? So let's break this down. So first verse, it says that he went to enter a boat with his taught ones and says, let's go over to the other side of the lake. At this point, certainly afterwards, but at this point they should have already understood who they had with them. And if he said, let's go over to the other side of the lake, guess where they're going? To the other side of the lake. And they should not be afraid of anything hindering that. And that's sort of the big metaphor of this story that we get to read, this account that we're reading. He said, let's go over to the other side of the lake. Now, notice that he also had an expectation that they would do what he told them, because he goes ahead and lays down to go to sleep. He didn't feel the need to supervise them. He didn't feel the need to watch and micromanage them. He said, let's go over to the other side of the lake. And they set out, and as they were sailing, he went to sleep. He was content that they had it under control. But then the boat starts filling up, and they were in danger. They come to him, and they wake him up, and they said, we're perishing. Now, bear in mind, a good bunch of these guys are fishermen. They would absolutely know the difference between a little bit of water in the boat and we're going to capsize and drown. They definitely thought this was that bad, okay? So for all of you that when you're in your situations, as this metaphor is to teach you, where it really looks that bad, just remember, Yeshua's there. He's not really asleep. He just seems like he's asleep and not paying attention. But he already told you in your life, remember I said this so many times, I want to say it again to encourage you. You can get there from where he called you. He said, we're going to the kingdom. It's like getting in the boat with you and saying, let's go to the other side of the lake. He said, we're going to the kingdom. Now, I'm going to trust you to be at the wheel, and I'm going to lay down, which is why you don't feel him in your life as much as you'd like to. And he says, why don't you believe? I gave you the instruction. I gave you what to do. I told you where we're going. But you're panicking. And that panic is causing you to make some bad decisions, some wrong choices, because you're afraid. So they wake him up, and it says, and he awoke. Now, I have speculated, it doesn't say it anywhere in here, that as I've done many times, and so have a lot of you adults have done this, when you have people around that you sort of want to half pay attention to, you're laying down with your eyes closed, but you're not quite asleep. I think Yeshua was fully aware of what was going on and watching everything they were doing in that half asleep state, if you understand what I'm saying. And so he's paying attention. He gets up, because I don't think that there was any risk to them. They thought there was. I mean, after all, water's coming to the boat. They think they're going to drown. And he says, he rebukes the wind and the water, and it became calm. And he said to them, where is your belief? And they were afraid and marveled, because they hadn't fully embraced who he is. And that's really the essence of this story, okay? As we're reading the account of Yeshua who is being with you in the midst of the storm is, where is your belief? In other words, have you limited what you think he can handle and he can do? See, that's the thing. They were still surprised when he woke up and shut down the problem. Meaning they didn't think he could do it. It wasn't within they just thought, Master, we're drowning. We might have to just bail out on the boat or whatever it is or something. They didn't expect that he would fix the problem. And the only reason that you know that is because of their reaction when he fixes the problem. Who is this that the wind and the seas even obey him? I don't know what they had in mind waking him up. I guess they just figured if we're going to drown and need to swim or do something else, we don't want to leave him asleep in the boat. And so they were waking him up. And see, a lot of times you read this, you might think they're waking him up to fix the problem. No, I think they're waking him up to help, figure out what to do next to bail out or whatever they had to do, or help him. Maybe he'll help bail out the boat or whatever they had to do. I don't think they were waking him up thinking he was going to fix anything. Master, Master, we are perishing. We're dying. Just wanted to let you, thought you might want to know that while you're sleeping. Because they marvel. They did not expect him to do this. Hasn't he done a bunch of things already in your life that you didn't expect him to do? But yet you still act like he can't do the next thing that's just as impressive, or maybe you're not even as impressive as some of the things he's already done, but you act like you don't think he can do it. He's in the boat with you. He has called you just like he called the brothers who were fishermen. And now he's got you in the boat, and he's with you in the boat, and he says, we're going over there. I have full expectation to go over there. But he may allow the storms in your life to come and swirl and bring on water and look like you might be in some sort of trouble to see what? Where is your belief? Where's your emunah? Where is your trust? It's like when he says to the lady at the well, if you knew who I was, you'd ask me for water, living waters. It's like, if you knew who was in the boat with you, you wouldn't have been afraid. And that's and because they weren't going to drown, because they were going to be fine, I believe he had some level of understanding what was happening when it was happening. He was just very patiently waiting to see what they would do. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? He's watching them. Remember, all of this is a test for them to see where their growth level is in their development of their emunah, their faith, their trust, their belief. And clearly, it wasn't where it needed to be yet.